Welcome to Power to the Rider. I'm Sagar Sherlekar and we are here for the street review of the Yamaha R15 version 2.0. So, let's first start with the performance. If you compare both the bikes, that is version 1 and version 2, on paper, they produce exactly 17 PS of power and 15 Nm of torque. To add to that, this bike is 5 kgs heavier and has a longer wheelbase. So that obviously does not sound like a very good proposition. But with a few very clever upgrades from Yamaha, the performance has definitely improved. So what are those upgrades? All of these changes together have managed to solve the problems which the older version had. If you consider the first R15, riding around in the city was a pain. Why? Because there was hardly any power in the lower RPM and it required to make a lot of gear changes. With this bike, riding around in the city is a much pleasurable experience now. Also on the highway rides, overtaking is much easier. Now let's look at the handling. The old R15 had already set a very high benchmark as far as the handling was concerned. Its chassis, its weight distribution, everything was well sorted and gave exceptional feedback in the corners as well as on the straights. But still there was a problem, and the problem was the rear tire. The old R15, according to many, did not have a very fat rear tire. Even though it provided exceptional grip, it did not look that great. The new R15, they've put in a 130/70 rear tire, as well as the front has been upsized to 90/80. That means that now you have even more stability in corners as well as on straight lines. The feedback has improved. Even in traffic now, it's much easier to balance the bike, especially in stop-go traffic. You don't have to put your foot down as much. To accommodate the fatter tire, they have brought in a lighter, more rigid aluminium swing arm. That is much wider, so that has increased the wheelbase about 50 mm. However, because of all of those changes, the bike has lost out on its flickability, because this one is a lot heavier. It's a 5 kgs heavier bike, and also the longer wheelbase does not really help in the flickability part. So flicking in the traffic, yes, you will feel the weight a little bit, especially when you're moving slowly. To compensate that, what Yamaha have done is they have changed the geometry of the bike. So now there is more weight on the front as compared to the rear. Also the rear section, if you see, has been lifted up. So the way you sit is inside the bike, and it's a really good riding position. It's very super sport. But then there are some disadvantages. Obviously, because of the weight distribution more to the front, riders will feel a lot more weight on their hands, especially when they are moving in slow traffic, as well as when they are under hard braking. A lot more weight will come on their palms. Also, as far as comfort is concerned, for the pillion rider, well, things have got really worse, because the rear seat has reduced considerably, and also the higher seating means that it takes more effort to mount on the bike, and also when you sit on the bike, the pillion will have to bend over a considerable bit, which means that the back will strain a lot. So long rides will become a very tedious affair. To be honest, the old version was exceptional when it came to braking. It was very well balanced, even under hard braking. With this one, I guess because of the tire changes with the bigger tires at the front as well as at the rear, Yamaha have put in a bigger disc to ensure that the braking force, the brakes are just as potent as on the original one, and they definitely are. Other than braking, there are a few more points which are not very big, but they're very significant. These changes include, if you look at the sprocket, it has a new sprocket cover which the old R15 did not have. Now that's a very good safety feature to have, especially when you meet with an accident, because that is what will save your foot from getting stuck. The backlight of the new R15 does not come on until you put on the parking light. Now that's a very good feature to have, especially on a bike which does not have a very big battery. I guess that could have also been done to accommodate the new double horn which is now on this bike. Lastly, you look at the storage. Now that is a downer on this bike because the space is extremely compact. It can only store the toolkit and the first aid kit, and that's about it. But other than that, the bike is exceptional. Yes, it's not a 250cc bike, but we are very happy with it, and even on the streets it's performed admirably well. It's always good to have a third perspective, which is why we have invited Roger here for the street review of the R15 version 2.0. Now, Roger has been a proud owner of the old R15 for a good 2 years now, and he has ridden it extensively here on those mountainous roads. It's also his commuting bike. That's the bike he uses to commute from his home to office. And of course, he's ridden it on the track earlier this year, first at CSS, where he took the same exact bike. So, welcome Roger.
Hi.
Good to have you here. So, tell us, after riding the bike, after riding the new R15, what are your first impressions?
Well, my first impression would be it really looks hot. I mean, it looks pretty close to what an R6 looks like. The mid-range has increased by quite a bit, and you do feel that difference in the city as well as in the mountainous roads. I mean, especially I would say in the city where you're struggling to
for the overtakes.
Exactly.
Okay. Also, you rode it on the highway with me the other, I think yesterday. How did you feel about that? Was overtaking any better?
Yeah, absolutely, because the response of the throttle has tremendously increased. It's given me more confidence to push the bike more, to lean the bike more.
Okay.
It's given me greater confidence to do that.
There's a lot more weight now on your palms. So what do you think about that?
Well, for a layperson, for a newbie who's got into sport riding or who's got into an R15, yeah, he will definitely feel the pressure on his arms because it's more aggressive now.
Right. But I agree, I mean, definitely because of the aggressive position now, for a new person who's not used to the bike at all, he will find it difficult.
Yeah, I agree to that. Yeah, definitely.
So, I think that's great. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure having you around.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. That's our review, that's our street review of the new R15 version 2.0. Whatever performance upgrades have been done, they have been spot on. And they have made a bike which was already good, even better. So, really good job, Yamaha.